Hey guys, I'm so glad you're here today because today I'm going to show you not just how to paint for my kit, but really how to make it your own. Okay, so I know that for a beginner, painting a portrait, even starting from a kit like this, can be a little intimidating. And for a pro, well, you might be asking, why would I even want to paint from a kit if I'm a pro? So today, while we paint this adorable pup, I'm going to share exactly how a painter at any skill level can create a beautiful portrait that's uniquely their own from a kit just like this. Now, to get us started, each of my kits comes with a canvas template. Comes with brushes, paints, and a set of instructions. And the instructions cover everything, but basically the kit is completed in 3 steps. So let's start with the first step. The first step is just to cover the canvas in the first coat of all of the colors that you have. In this kit, we've got 8 colors, and I'm going to work left to right, starting with the background color. And this is great because it's a great way to get used to your brushes and how the paint handles on the canvas, especially if you're new. And so some tips as you get started, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. The first one is that the first coat may not cover completely. It's better to do multiple thin coats than one thick coat, so it's okay. You're going to come back over this in the second round. And the other thing to remember is that it's okay to go a little outside the lines. When you start painting the next color, you'll be able to clean it up a bit. And remember to paint over the edges of the canvas. Just take that color that you have on your paintbrush and paint it right around the edge. This just gives a more professional, more finished, polished kind of look to your painting. Now, for the beginner, this is a great intro to the concept of value, which is really the essence of painting. Understanding how to divide up the form into large areas of darks and lights is something that a lot of artists continue to work on throughout their entire career. For a pro, this is a great way to practice the simplification of form. That is something that's sometimes really hard to see when you're working from real life or even from a photo. There's so much information, trying to distill that down can be difficult. So a kit like this can really be a great reminder or even a resource for playing around with how to do that. Trying out the ideas of lost and found edges and how you can really represent a whole form with just 6 or 8 colors really simply. Now this first step might take about 30 to 45 minutes depending on the size of your painting. Today we're just painting an 8x8 canvas, so it's pretty quick. But take your time. You can always come back and finish later. In step 2, we're going to be working back over each area that we just painted and just cover it a second time, giving it a second coat, making sure it's opaque. But we're going to work in the opposite direction, going from right to left in our color palette. So tips this time around are really around being a little bit more careful with where we're painting and making sure that we're putting the paint down where it's supposed to be. After this coat is complete, all the areas should be really well defined, their edges should be clear, and the paint should be opaque. But if there are some blotchy patches, don't worry about it. You can just wait for them to dry and go over them one more time with your paint. This step is great for practicing brushwork. So for a beginner, this is about using your flat brush to get nice straight edges, like around our background edges. Or using that small round brush to place those little tiny highlights in and around the eyes and the nose. The key is to get the right amount of paint on the brush, not too much, not too little, and just go as slow as you need to. Don't try to rush it. Best of all, don't be afraid to wipe off a mistake or wait until the paint is dry and just paint over something that you don't like. For the pro, brushwork might look a little bit different. So practicing your brushwork might be an opportunity to try something a little more stylized, thinking about different textures for the fur on your portrait versus something like the nose or the collar. They're very different, and you can use brushwork to help bring out those differences. This step can take about an hour depending on the size of your painting again. But at this point, if you're happy with your portrait, you can call it done. However, if you want to continue and really customize your portrait, there is a final step that you might love. Transitions and flourishes are the final step. And my tip here is that while completely optional, for me this is the most rewarding part because this is where I really get to have some fun. So this stage is really about enjoying yourself. So let's talk about transitions. Transitions are the things that help us define form, and anywhere where one color meets up against another in your painting, that's a transition. Generally speaking, if there's a sharp transition, that is a tight turn in the form like on a nose or a lip, the transitions will be narrow. But if there's a more gradual transition, like across the curve of the forehead, the transitions will be wider or more broad. So for the beginner, take a look at your painting and notice where two colors meet, and if there's an opportunity to put a little bit more information in that transition. We can simply do that by mixing those two colors from our palette and adding it in either a narrow or a wide passage. And if you're not sure, just start with a narrow one and gradually move up from there. Remember, you can always paint over anything once it's dry if you don't like it. For the pro, this is a great chance to practice some of your favorite finishing techniques. Or even better, try some new ones. If you're not familiar with glazing or mixed media, these are some of my favorites. And I've seen artists using collage, printing techniques, getting out the paint pens, giving those a try. You name it, this is really a risk-free chance to give it a try. And that's it, guys. This is your painting. This is your chance to make a work of art, and I really hope you enjoy painting your kit. And I'd love to see your work. If you haven't already, head over to Instagram and put up a picture and tag me in it. I can't wait to see them. So I hope this was helpful for you, but if there's something that I missed or something that you might want to try in the future, just let me know in the comments. But for now, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, I'll see you soon.